Don't learn to forget. Don't learn to forget. That's why write when you are being taught. Use different systems that will help you retain the things you are learning. Use your phones, place reminders, place things on your walls. This is what the Hebrews understood, that they will say, bind it upon your head, write it upon your doorpost. This was how they inculcated all of the things that Abraham shielded in God. Now, don't you wonder how Abraham was able to transfer these things down to his children? That is one of the corners of bride price. Part of how Abraham shielded the revelation of the redemption that Christ was to come to secure. He had to make sure he used different systems to keep the consciousness on his children. So even in the corner of he had to initiate something called bride price, so that as Isaac is paying that, Isaac being a type of Christ, he remembers that I represent Christ. And the way I'm paying the bride price, this is how Jesus is going to pay the price for our redemption. Isaac understood this. They knew. Are we following? So the same way Rebecca veiled her face and Isaac was to be the one to take away the veil. They knew what these things meant. They knew that they were just types and shadows. It was part of how they preserved. They preserved them through their civilizations, through the laws, through the things they instituted. They preserved these things. They were skilled at preserving. They were skilled at that. That's why God said about Abraham, for I know Abraham, that he will teach his children after my ways. He will teach his children my laws. Can God say that about our generation? Can God say that about you? Have you realized that your life of righteousness is a preservation strategy? That because you live righteously, somebody will see that life and becomes a system that sustains our structure. That a man sees you praying and your life of prayer becomes a preservative mechanism to make sure that the next generation will still pray because you prayed. Do you realize these things? That we are preservers of divine ordinances, that we are preservers of divine technologies, that we are preservers of spiritual substances. Do you realize these things? Not just as informations, but as a system and lifestyle. That your lifestyle becomes a means to preserve a reality in God. That your life becomes a system of preserving something in God. Not just as an information, not just as a folk tale, as a story you tell to another generation, but that they can look at your life and the way you lived, and a generation can remember certain things. The Bible said about Jesus that when he came and obtained in the temple, he obtained the tables where they were selling stuff, and the Bible said that when they saw him, they remembered that it was written that the seal of my house, the seal of my father's house has consumed